In the previous video, we have seen how operator precedence and associativity is used for grouping operands in an expression. But one very important point we need to remember is that operator precedence and associativity only determines how operands are grouped in the expression and not the order of evaluation. And when it comes to the order of evaluation, Python always evaluates the expressions from left to right. This point is also clearly mentioned in the official Python documentation. Now let's see an example so that you will clearly understand the evaluation process. Let's say we have this expression a plus b plus c star d. When we try to evaluate these kind of expressions in mathematics, so because star or multiplication has higher precedence, we directly compute this value and then we do a plus b plus whatever value we have. But Python is a programming language. It has its own fixed way of how to read expressions. So what actually happens when Python evaluates this expression is, because star has higher precedence than plus, C star D is grouped first, but C star D, this C star D is not evaluated first. It just gets grouped. Now we have two plus operators. So plus has left to right associativity. So this A plus B is grouped first, and then this whole expression is grouped based on this plus. So you will finally get this sort of an expression in which you will have A plus B plus C star D, right? So this is how the grouping happens. Now, once the grouping happens, Python then tries to evaluate this. So this is how Python groups the expression, and the way it evaluates is from left to right, which means it will start reading this expression from left to right. And so it first sees this left side operand a plus b. So to evaluate this a plus b, again it goes from left to right. So it first evaluates a, then it will evaluate b, and then evaluates a plus b, right? Now it has completed the evaluation of left hand side. Now it goes to the right hand side, which has c star d. So it will evaluate c and then d, in the left to right manner again, and then evaluates c star d. Now let's say this a plus b is r1, and let's say c star d gives r2, right? Now it finally computes r1 plus r2, so that's how the whole evaluation process actually happens. Now let's see a small demo to understand evaluation order. So here we have variables a, b, c, d with values 1, 2, 3, and 4. So when you try to print a plus b plus c star d, so we have seen this is how the grouping happens. And Python tries to evaluate expressions from left to right. So if you run this program, you can see the output is 15, right? Now you might be getting one doubt here. I said that C star D is grouped first because of operator precedence, but it is not evaluated first. But what happens if I evaluate also? Let's say if I evaluate C star D first, it will be 3 star 4, which will be 12, right? So then this expression becomes A is 1, B is 2. So it will be 1 plus 2 plus 12, which will be 15. So we got the same answer 15 if we follow that procedure as well, right? The thing is, even if we don't follow the strict left to right order evaluation, we might get the same correct answer in examples like these. But there are a few cases in which the order of evaluation becomes important, and that's where you get wrong if you simply evaluate based on precedence. Let's see one example. So for this particular demo, I've created a function with a name func, F-U-N-C. We are going to discuss about functions later in the course, but just for the sake of this demo, I'll give you a quick overview. All right. So this function called func, it has an input parameter with a name value. So when you call func of 1, this value parameter takes this value 1. And inside this function, we can write whatever logic we want, right? So here, what we are simply doing is we are printing the value we got, right? With a message value is, and we are printing whatever value we got. And then we are returning the same value back. So if you see this particular line here, we are trying to print func of 1. So when this func of 1 is evaluated, so this value will take this value 1. So it first prints this message value is 1, and then it will return 1 back here. So it means it will again print 1 here. Similarly, if you say this func of 10, so it calls this function value takes this value 10. So it will print value is 10. So 10 is returned back here. So it will print 10 here. Similarly, we have func of 5, right? It works the same way. If you just run this, so you can see that when func1 is called, it prints value is 1 message, and then it will return 1 back here, right? So it prints 1. Similarly, if you see func of 5, it goes inside this. So value is 5 is printed, right? And then 5 is returned back here. So this print function will print 5 here. Now let's see this expression. In the previous example, we have used a plus b plus c star d, and these are variables. But here, instead of simply using variables, we are using function calls, right? Func of 1 plus func of 2 plus func of 3 star func of 4. And here we are not printing the value returned by func of 1, right? Func of 1 will return value 1, right? We are not printing it like in this case, but we are just using those return values to compute the value of this expression, and we are printing the final value, right? So when func of 3 is executed, it will go here, it will print value is 3 and just returns 3 back in this place, right? Similarly, func of 4 will print value is 4 and it will return 4 in this place. Now first let's run this and see what happens if you run this program. So yeah, so this is the output right after this message. As you can see here, if you try to analyze the order of evaluation of these func1, func2, func3, and func4, we can see that func1 is evaluated first, and then func2 is evaluated, then func3 is evaluated, then func4 is evaluated, right? But if you think about operator precedence, we know that star has greater precedence than plus. So if Python had evaluated this func3 star func4 first because it has higher precedence, in that case, Python would have evaluated func3 and func4 before func1 and func2, right? If it tries to evaluate this, it obviously has to evaluate these two operands, right? But here, if you see here, it is not the case. The order of evaluation is func1 and then func2, func3, and func4. So this happened because Python first groups the expression in this way, right? And then evaluates expressions from left to right. Just like how we have seen here. So once this is grouped, Python tries to evaluate this from left to right. So in that process, it will evaluate A first, B first, and then finds out A plus B, and then evaluates C next, and then D next, and then evaluates C star D, and finally computes, this value plus this value. So instead of A, B, C, D as variables, in this particular example, we are using func1, func2, func3, func4. That's why we could observe that func1 is evaluated first, then func2, then func3, then func4. So it is important to understand that Python uses operator precedence and associativity just for grouping the operands in expression. Once it completes the grouping, it evaluates expressions from left to right. So try to follow the same approach to avoid any unexpected answers. With this, I hope that you understood the concept of operator precedence and how the expressions are evaluated. Let's meet in the next tutorial.